Alright, the recording's running. That's gonna look professional starting on YouTube. First thing you hear in the video, the recording's running. That's fine. If I'm gonna use anything for income, it's Twitch. Because YouTube sucks. Demonetization. What the heck just happened to that? The goodie hut disappeared on me. Was it ever actually there? That doesn't make any sense. Well, there's one. Oh, yeah. They gave me a unit, an archer. Which... Oh, I'm glad I looked. Yep, welcome to Civ 2. So we're just going to explore out with these warriors and archers. In a way, I'm glad I got the archer, but when it comes to that exploring early, the best unit to actually get is probably something fast, like a horseman or something like that. Well, they want to give me only units, I guess. Which isn't fun because now I have to support this unit. Like, the limit is 2. So we're just gonna keep going. Also, this was one thing interesting about Civ 2. Is the rivers took up entire tiles. They were a feature, much like a forest is. And also, your land units could go faster on the river. Which was a really interesting fact about Civ 2. But the thing about rivers in Civ 2 is you almost never found a river that was decent. This settler is actually unsupported, which is perfect. I can have him go and everything, and that's actually good considering this. Settlers you also support with an additional food, as well as a shield. Yes, shields. I should have covered that. Shields were used to support units then, and your units were supported from cities, and you could actually change what cities they were supported from. What you had to do was move them into the city that you wanted to support them from, and then you'd click on them and say support from this city. And so yeah. The only time I would ever really do that is a lot of times it's in cases of colonization. If I move like an archer and settler into a galley and go to colonize some island, I will then support that archer from the new city, because that would make the most sense and would actually save me production. Well, it would save me production in the cities where it mattered. Like, and your mainland. That depends on what stage of the game you're in, though. If it's not gonna matter, like if you have like a factory and coal plant and your city is like a massive production center, that's not gonna matter. But the first unit you build or support in a city is actually free. So that depends on what government. Some governments can support more of them for free. Others can support none for free. Like Democracy and Republic, I don't think they support anything for free. I think you have to support each individual unit, no matter how many units you have. See, I have unleashed a horde of barbarians. Oh noes. There's only one. Unfortunately, it's gonna have to... Well, that's actually fine, though. Because I need to explore anyway. There's actually a lot of decent land around here. The one problem with Civ 2, though, is the terrain was so random to the point where you almost couldn't even find hills. So here's what I like to do is, early in the game I like to try and escape from despotism, which is the government you start in, because it's a terrible government and limits the amount of yields on your tiles. I have to do that again because it doesn't do it automatically, and I literally forgot that. It just tells you what you need to research. Go code of laws. Also, if you notice, I'm only moving them one tile at a time because the unit pathfinding was really bad in Civ 2. Like, if I told them to go straight this way, you think they would just do that, right? No, sometimes they'd start by going like that to that tile, which makes no sense. Now, one of the expansions, Civ 2 Test of Time, actually added better unit pathfinding, so you could, to an extent, and it was really useful for caravans. Sometimes they would still get stuck. But that was very useful for caravans, because trying to figure out your own route and remember where that unit's even going can be annoying. And there I accidentally brought up the tile stats, or whatever it is. I do that sometimes. I think my mouse double clicks. I need to get a new one. Fortunately, my disability made me get used to the current mouse. And I can't seem to find any others like it. I may have to just... What did I just tell him to do? I told him to sleep. It may come down to me just ordering a mouse and returning it every time it doesn't work, until I get one that works. Problem is, I gotta use it for a while before I can return it. I may have to, like, literally return it at the like, at like the minimum return date or whatever. Or maximum, rather. Also, I hope to have this issue with research that existed in Civ 2 that doesn't anymore. Like, how now you can set a goal. Now, you've already noticed you can set a goal, but it will not automatically research to it. Sometimes you would run out of things that led to the tech. For some reason, I don't know why it would do that. But then you have to research something else and hope that it reveals the path to the other tech. It's the most annoying thing. And a lot of times it loves to do it to me with Monarchy. Until there's one more tech to Monarchy, it'll literally disrupt the thing at the very last tech. And it seems to do it with more than just that tech. Oh, and we discovered an advanced tribe. Most people will just destroy these. Like, here's what they'll do. Settlers are, of course, expensive, though. I hope that you don't grow during that time. That's what you do, and then you disband the city when the settlers built. Now, I had to download some patches and stuff to actually get this to work on Windows 10. And the best one I found was called Civ 2 with UI additions. It was something I found on a website called Civ Fanatics. And it added a couple other extra things that are convenient. Like, you can actually make it so there is like a launcher here somewhere where you can actually like put in some extra settings. And the settings would be like in this version that it doesn't normally have is if you have a casualty, the game will tell you this is the casualty timeline, so obviously I've lost no units yet, so there's nothing there. But at the end of a turn, if you had a casualty that turn, with the UI addition, it pops up. Now you can turn that off. You can turn each individual thing off. And there was one thing that I turned on. It was called the Classic Civ 2 AI. Now, what they did is in the expansions to Civ 2, they changed the AI to where they're completely uncooperative with the player. Almost all the time. And I think the developers at the time thought, oh, that would make it more challenging. Not really, it just makes it so you can't really... You can only play with combat at that point. Of course, there were actually only 3 victories. One of them was the score victory, the time limit score victory. Conquest, where you eliminate everyone, and then a space race, which is called Science Victory now. Okay, Moscow is starting to actually work well, even though it's supporting its own guard. Alright, I should probably check if I can... Yeah, we can do that, and we can... The reason I do that is because a lot of the time these are put in weird places, and I don't really like the positioning. I mean, it's not a bad location, but... I like to be the one positioning the city, is what I'm saying. Unless it's an AI city that I captured. I usually leave those where they are. See, that's what you do. You just build settlers anyway. Although sometimes if you get one that's ridiculously far away, it may be worth... It may actually be worth keeping and just sending settlers out like in a radius around it. We have a couple good locations for cities. The problem is they're requiring us to do inland cities, which I'll do some inland cities and then I'll do a bunch of coastal ones. Like I can do a bunch of coastal ones here, and then those inland cities won't matter. Like, this is a good spot right here, because you get pheasant, 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 buffalo. Now, if you notice, I said there's no resources, but but you're seeing resources on the map. But units don't actually require resources to be built. I think that was before the developers figured out that that should be a thing. Civ 3 was the first one that had like actual resources. Yeah, all they really did here was affect tile yield. Wait a minute. There is a river next to him. I'll just irrigate that tile so it gets a little better of a food yield as a city center. And for once, I did not actually have that issue that I told you about. You'll probably see it later, though. So yeah, I think I'll stream... I don't even remember what time it was when I started this. But I'll stream, I guess, until 8. And then when it reaches 8, I'll stop streaming and I'll upload this to YouTube. Now, there was still strategy in Civ 2. It's just... And people will say, oh, all this is doom stacking. Well, yes and no. In Civ 2, a stack of doom could be completely killed off if an attacker successfully won a battle against the defender, and it was a huge stack. If they weren't on a fort or in a city, it would kill the entire stack. Which is interesting, but I kind of like what they've done with strategy in Civ 6 and Civ 5. And the problem I have with Civ 6 is the way the map generates always gets you into choke points. Like, it's... Like here, let's put this person here, then this person here. Oh, but here's the city-state right in the middle. Oh, and they built an encampment right in your way. And no, you can't go through the encampment, even if you ally with them. It's just that Civ 6 likes to put stuff on top of stuff on top of stuff. And it seems like it generates stuff, more stuff, closer to you, and I don't know if that's true, but it seems like it. I didn't even notice there's unexplored stuff there. I should have sent him there. Now I do want to start streaming maybe Civ 3 mods. I have a Star Trek mod in Civ 3 and it's pretty cool. And the thing about Civ 3 is well, this is Civ 2, but the thing about Civ 3, when you could mod, you could not actually make map scripts. So with space mods, if you want them to actually work properly, you need to actually make the map yourself. And they did, they made a map, and it's based on some of the Star Trek maps and stuff that you can find. There we get that city, which is gonna get a lot of food in production. And this city's pretty good too. Sometimes, even though it would be inland and the sea may be a better idea, I do like to try and take advantage of some of the overpowered locations you can see on the map. This kind of location here is going to be really powerful early game. You'll be able to pump out units and wonders there really fast. And that's the entire goal. Oh, also, you could not irrigate diagonally. Yes, you actually had to irrigate. Now, luckily, with the way Minsk is, I could probably chop all the forests around it. Of course, I could just chop the ones in the 8 squares that surround the city itself. Then I could get some of the production from the forest while chopping some of them and being able to irrigate. And there was one thing you could do in Civ 2 that they never brought back. You could actually change terrain types later on. Like, without cheating. It wasn't cheating. And what you would do... You would... I'm losing my train of thought, sorry. And I think I completely lost my train of thought now. Oh, yeah. Later on, settlers, well, if you've noticed already, settlers and workers were the same thing. They called them settlers. But later on, you could upgrade them to engineers, which moved twice as fast, worked twice as fast. And there were also additional things they could do that settlers would never be able to do. And one of them is called transform terrain. Also, there was upgraded farmland. The irrigation would become farmland later in the game. I believe refrigeration is what allows you to do that. Explosives is the tech that gives you engineers. And then when you transform terrain, I like to do like stripes of hills and farmed grassland. Then you get like maximum production and food. Now I could have that like that, it'll be expensive. Just to advance a little quicker for a little bit. I wish I could show you guys the High Council, but that is a feature that's unstable. On modern systems, it's unstable. You have to change your compatibility settings just to do it. And when you change the things you change them to, makes like the taskbar flash for some reason, which is actually quite annoying, and I found that it hurts my eyes a little bit because you're not focusing on it. It's in your peripherals, and I think because it's in your peripherals, it's kind of worse. It makes my head hurt. But the High Council was, I mean, see, you can console High Council here. If I click on it, nothing happens. But if I had my compatibility settings changed to, like, I think Windows XP Service Pack 3, you could actually use it. And it would be group of advisors that would say things and argue with each other, and for the most part, it was put in the game as a joke. I don't even know why I sent this guy way down here. I was talking and probably not noticing I was doing it. Mysticism. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. There's more stuff to explore. I think I read somewhere that this UI, like this patch, also works with that expansion I told you about. That had better pathfinding for units. And then maybe I still have it, so I should probably look into it working. I guess I accidentally put another unit in sleep mode. One thing that was nice about the settlers doing worker actions is that you could, when you go to build a city, you could build a road on your way to building the city, and then just build it. I don't always do that. I probably should, because you're always going to have roads to your cities no matter what. We're not going to need him for a while, so we can go found a city. I just noticed this city's going to be an absolute pain to get the irrigation to it. Guess I'm going to have to chop out a bunch of forests. Yeah, also, I don't think you got extra production for chopping down forests. I think Civ 3 added that. Civ 3 also added actual territory. Like, you know the culture and your borders? Yeah. Civ 3 added that. Now, even though territory is not really a thing, this little radius around your cities, if an AI enters that, you can tell them to leave. If they're near any of your cities, you can tell them to leave. I've mostly ran out of things to say at this point. That's why I need to stream more. Wait, what? Yes, I wasn't paying attention and just did that. I do not think there's a way to change it. I'm so glad they added some of the things they did. You know, since I started streaming, I almost don't want to... I have a Skyrim save, and it's still pretty early in the save, and I'm wondering, should I just start streaming on it so I don't have to start all over? I should probably... I think that's what I'll do. I'm gonna chop out the little 8 so I can irrigate to it. I may need to overlap here, just so I can fill in some area. And that's part of the reason it's such a good thing they added territory. I will need to tilt my wheelchair back again. If you're wondering why I have to do this, it's because sitting up all the time gets uncomfortable. And wheelchairs, a lot of times, at least power chairs, are made so that you can adjust the seat and recline. Because every so often you have to do that, or you can get all kinds of problems. Health problems. And if you're in a wheelchair, you got enough health problems as it is. You don't need more. I should know. So if you guys are wondering what this room is like, this is actually a sunroom that we converted into my bedroom because it has more room for stuff like my camera and my setup. See, because I wanted to have both things. And I have a bunch of bird feeders out here on my window right here. And over there, I actually see one of the birds is, looks like a house finch. He's eating a seed that he took from a feeder on the roof. I have 3 feeders on this window here. They're just suction cup to the window. And there's another bigger feeder that I can't see. That's kind of like straight ahead of me. But there's a wall in the way. Yeah, the house finch is just up there. There's another one. Looks like a female because she's not as red. See, I know a lot about birds because it's one of the things I really like. Right out back here is woods. It's just a forest, basically. I mean, you could call it a forest. It's not really big enough to be a forest. When there's no... During winter, you can actually see the neighborhood on the other side, so it's not really a forest, just woods. I don't really know how old it is, though. And I'm thinking, if this was something planted a long time ago for lumber, it's not that old then. But there is a chance it could be an old growth forest. I think it actually might be, because some of the trees back here look really old and not in good condition. Part of that's also because they have the tree diseases. But yeah, this is actually... I like having my setup out here. I see all kinds of animals. Alright, and now here's the process of getting my arm back up. Some days it's much quicker and easier. Today's one of those days, though. And yeah, I don't have much strength compared to a healthy person would. You see me shift my head and body around like that? That's me trying to get my arm up. Like brute forcing it up. It's how people like me have to actually do it. And sometimes you hurt your back doing it, like I just did then. I'm having a really hard time this time. Sorry, I can't actually talk right now. I have to focus. Here, at least we got that step taken care of. It wasn't, my arm was, my left arm, I have to take it off my left armrest. Just a little bit. And it wasn't going enough. So I had to like move and do it a different way. I'm almost back up though, don't worry. I've almost got it. At the last step. It just occurred to me that that one viewer is probably me. I run my stream on other screens for a couple reasons, so I can see the chat. And so I can be sure that the stream's working. OBS and the Firefox sit on the other side. I have a cloth that I rest my arm on, and it's almost coming off the table. And here we go, we're back to the game finally. Oh, and sometimes I have failed attempts at getting my hand up, where I have to literally drop it back down and start from the beginning again. It's very frustrating. Oh, sometimes I just plain get stuck too. Then I have to yell. I have to yell, and don't worry, I have someone who can help me. We try not to let me home by myself at all. It's what it's like being disabled, that you can't really do much on your own. Oh, look, a barbarian ship. Now there's one cool aspect of barbarians. They didn't have camps in Civ 2. But as you saw, one of those units was not something, didn't look like the other units around it. That is the barbarian leader. See, each group's, this usually, depending on what they are. You can also get ones that spawn as peasant revolts, which don't have a leader. But the leader, if you get the leader out of a stack and kill him, you can pay you get paid a 150 gold ransom. Just for, it's supposed to mean that you captured him. There's some weird animal noises out back. I'm not sure what that is. I've heard it. It's not the first time I've heard it. Granary. Want the city to grow fast. Oh god, I think that's hard to tell though. I think they're going around just to hit Odessa. In which case, I have to send a unit. Yeah, I think they're just gonna go around Minsk. You never know with them though. I've seen them where it looks like they're doing that, and then they're like, and then they hit the city from the dumbest angle you've ever seen. So, yeah, it looks like that's what they're doing. Just hitting the city from the dumbest angle you've ever seen. Now let's try to go to engineering. There's another coastal city over there. At least I hope they're hitting that city from the dumbest angle. They could still go to Odessa from there. Nah, they're gonna hit it from the dumbest angle you've ever seen. And now I'm just gonna use my phalanx to surround the leader. It's actually the best way to do that, is to surround him. But it's better if you have higher movement units. I don't even know which one of these is the first settler. Doesn't matter then, I guess. You can also basically just disappear. And I don't exactly know what a good explanation for that would be. He just runs away, escapes. Which is one reason it's good to use faster units, but you can manage to get them with something slower, like this. We got him now. Yep. And now he can go back to Moscow. See, they try and use... The leader tries to do a hit and run. Or a lot of times what happens is the other units are gone. Gone. And the leader then tries to escape. I guess that's the best explanation for it. See, there's the leader for that other group now. Let's see if they manage to actually pathfind. That's the annoying thing, is the AI can pathfind just fine. Oh, there's a deer literally in my yard. There's a salt lick out back, and he's looking at she, actually. It looks like more like a female. They don't have antlers this time of the year, but there's other ways you can tell. The doe, which is the female, is smaller and lighter in color. The buck, which is the male, is larger and is more of a gray, darker color. And just watch, when it gets to the rut is what it's called, where they get their antlers, and they get and they get really territorial and stuff at that time of the year. And just wait, they'll be at the Salt Lick a lot more then. And the reason they'll be at it more then is they'll be more active. It's a better time of the year, and on top of that, that's where they need more salt, is that time of the year. And they don't usually get it in their diet. That's what a salt lick is for. Usually animals will get that by licking rocks. Also, with the way Moscow is now, a granary is a good idea. Pretty soon I'm going to actually get off of this. Pretty soon. I'll head off, and I'm going to try and stream tomorrow too. I can't do it in the morning or early afternoon though. I'll have to wait till at least 3. We're training another caretaker for me. And that's going to be happening a lot, so... And then I need... sorry. And then I need to expose the new caretakers to me streaming. Because even just me voice chatting is for some reason a hard thing for a lot of them to grasp at first. I'll literally tell them about it. And even if I tell them about it, the first time I start doing it, I do this almost every day. On Discord, by the way, almost every day. And even when I warn them, and the first time I get on it with a new caretaker, they come back here and they're like, "Were you talking to me?" And I'm like, "No. I'm voice chatting. I literally warned you about this so that you wouldn't come back here, and you did anyway." Not every new caretaker has done that. Oh, and currently I have a really, really stupid one. Like, really stupid. Like, didn't know what a kazoo was, didn't know what a ukulele was. Stuff that I thought was common knowledge. My sister tells me I expect too much from the people working in this field, and maybe. I also can't stand stupid people, so. Yeah, that aid actually refers to streaming. I told him streaming. He calls it Skyping. So I'm glad you guys are watching me play Civ 2 on Skype right now. They're so far away, I'm not even really concerned. They'll probably go for Sevastopol. So I'm just not going to build anything in between that. And of course, this body of water that goes like that, so I have to go back around now. Masonry. I believe construction will go to this, but I don't really remember the tech tree much in Civ 2. I do play Civ 2 regularly, but I play the other ones a little more lately. As soon as it hits 8, I'm going to head off here. Should probably eat something too. Be hungry. I am starting to kind of get hungry, actually. Why did I send him down? I should send him that way. That's where I'm going to send him. Yakutsk. So we got this. Surprised I haven't met any AIs yet. I usually always meet at least one really early in the game. Oh, the barbarians are gone. That's weird. I think if it spawns them really far away and they don't reach anything in a certain amount of time, they disappear. Or an AI killed them and I couldn't see the AI. Yeah, that'll happen. I'm not even kidding. You always can see where the barbarians are, which is a very strange thing. Unless they're in unexplored territory. Actually, we can check that. Nope, they didn't. They weren't killed by anything. Just like despawned. Kiev built settlers. This day was, I thought, was supposed to be nicer than this. This is a weird start to summer. I was honestly hoping I'd get another tech, but okay. Uh, Wait, what? I suddenly started irrigating with some guy from Minsk. Not Sevastopol. No comment from based on my own action. Yeah, I've kind of run out of things to say at this point. Another reason to stream more. Well, I probably shouldn't continue at the, like, at least right now, because having nothing to talk about makes it very boring to watch, and I guess I will see everyone in the next stream. Maybe I could stream for longer. Maybe it'll even be tomorrow. I hope it'll be tomorrow. I have an entire week without the kids that are living here. I'm gonna have an entire week without them. But then I need to continue once they come back. But they're very loud sometimes. So I will see you guys everyone in the next stream. I don't know if it'll be this game. I don't know what game it'll be. Maybe I'll decide to finally do Skyrim. Since considering I have my character basically mostly set up at this point. I just need to do more stats wise. So I'll see you guys then.